Hey y'all, this is Gina Myers-Collins coming at you again with another episode of WINOS. And today we're coming at you from one of WINOS' favorite places, the Winesmith in Buffalo. And it's the backdrop, and doesn't it scream sip and soul? If it doesn't, I don't know what does. I'm calling today's episode Sip and Soul, where music meets Merlot. And full disclosure, I cannot stand Merlot. I don't drink it, I don't like it, but the name sounded so smooth and so good, I had to use it. So we will not be drinking it today, but I still had to use it in my title. If you watched my last episode, number 7, I said that something else was coming next. It still is, but sometimes the universe slides something in that you just can't pass up. We had to hit pause on the original planned episode because this man right here next to me, my longtime friend, Terry Gresham, just happened to be in town, and I jumped at the chance to collab with him. Y'all will understand what I mean in just a few minutes. I have known Terry since 1989. I'm really aging us today. So I was a freshman in high school and Terry was a sophomore in high school. So back in 1989. Terry is a singer, songwriter, band leader, event host, DEI consultant, competitive runner, and a WSET Level 1 wine enthusiast. And that stands for the Wine and Spirit Education Trust for those who do not know. He is a vibrant performer with extensive experience leading some of the top wedding and corporate bands in the South. Terry brings unmatched energy to every event he touches with a repertoire that spans Motown, pop, R&B, top 40, hip hop, and jazz. He's passionate about delivering a high energy, unforgettable experience every time he hits the stage. Welcome, Terry.
Ooh. So first of all, before we even go any further, can we make a toast to that amazing introduction? Because thank you. I did not know I had such accolades.
You didn't know that about yourself? Okay. And see, I write everybody's introductions, so you know, I don't even ask for them anymore. I just do research and write them.
It's so good coming out. When you read it is one thing, but when you hear it,
when you hear somebody talking about you, you're like, that's me. So, and just to give you a little background about how we came about this episode, Terry actually reached out to me and said he was loving the direction that the podcast was going into, and had been watching WINOS, and he wanted to do something together. And I appreciated that love so much. I was like, okay, I knew we had to make this happen. So here we are. Right. So just to set the tone for what we're doing today, this is going to be a relaxed, it's going to be soulful, it's going to be a convo where we connect over wine. As you can see, we have our wine here. We're going to talk about music and memories, how they intertwine, and touch on how moods and music and wine pair with each other. And yes, I'm hoping Terry will bless us with a few bars. We can't have a singer-songwriter on WINOS and not have him sing a couple of bars. All right, so we're gonna taste our first wine, even though we already toasted to it. So Terry, being the WSET enthusiast that he is, tell us a little bit about this wine that we have.
so this is a South African rosé, and just to kind of give your listeners a little bit of context, you know, there's a few different types of wine. White, reds are the most kind of common ones that most people are familiar with. Rosé is a little different because of just the way that it is made, and so it's kind of produced in a slightly different way where it's taking the skin of grapes in order to make the nice color that it has. So what I have realized in my study is that rosé can have this sort of pinkish kind of color to it. It can also have a white, more traditional white color. It also has this kind of almost like golden oranges type of color.
This one is very golden to me. It has gold hints in it.
Yeah, so different types of production can really kind of dictate the type of color, and most importantly, the type of taste that you can have with your wine.
Okay, we're gonna taste this one. And anybody who has watched WINOS knows that rosé is my favorite. And since it's summertime, rosé is always good. It's just summer of rosé. But this one is really good. It's from South Africa. What's the name of it?
Yeah, Protea.
Protea.
And so now what I've also learned is that a lot of South African wine is actually inspired by the French.
Okay.
And so, in my opinion, it doesn't get any better than rosé in France. And so, there's a connection to France and South Africa in terms of its production. Also in terms of the climate, the type of climate and the way the mountain ranges work in South Africa makes, in my opinion, it can rival the French wines. French wines obviously are way more produced and way more popular, but if you can get to South Africa, and more importantly, if you can get something from South Africa here in the United States, you good.
Okay. South Africa is also big for Sauvignon Blanc. I've noticed that they have some Sauvignon Blancs that come from South Africa, and those are pretty good as well. So what drew you to wine in the first place? Because coming from the background that you come from, business, DEI, everything, singing, what drew you into wine?
So I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, just because we've known each other a long time. I think what drew me to wine is what drew a lot of people to wine. It was a bad breakup.
Wait a minute. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Was going through it and needed an outlet in order to try to cope with it.
Okay.
And just started to kind of get into it. And as most people who are really kind of into wine will usually do, you kind of start off with something real basic, real grocery store like.
Like Zinfandel, Moscato,
all those $5 ones.
Yes.
It's like, I just need something.
Franzia.
And it just started to grow from there. And as my palate started to evolve, and I started realizing, okay, these wines, no shade to anyone who likes those wines.
Right.
I started to realize, okay, this isn't really my kind of thing. Let me try to find something else. And so it started off getting more into the Rieslings of the world and some of the less sweet, but still in that ballpark.
Gotcha.
And then I started learning about reds, and it was over from there.
It was over from there. Okay.
So,
okay. A fabric. Got it. So, how does wine connect to your music? What correlation between the music and wine?
There are so many things. I think the biggest thing is just, well, really a couple of things. One is the cultural connection, and the way that wine is produced is in a lot of ways very similar to how music is produced. A lot of times it stems from emotion. You feel an emotional connection to wine. You kind of feel this sort of a sense of connection that you have, even not only when you're drinking it, but with the type of wine you're drinking.
Yes.
We talked about rosé in summer. There's a feeling that's connected to that. If you're thinking about something that you drink over the holidays when it's colder, your warm, cozy fire, music has the same type of connection, the same type of vibe.
It does. It does.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. The second thing is just building that sense of community. Wine is always served better with friends. And oftentimes when you're drinking wine, you're enjoying each other's company, you're feeling, the vibe, feeling all the love. What's usually happening? You've got some music in the background.
Yes.
And so a lot of times the same type of thing when you are either creating music or when you're playing music, you feel that sense of community.
Yes.
When I'm on stage, I feel like, for me, if I'm able to connect with crowds, if I'm able to build a relationship with the audience, and they're able to kind of, vibe off of what I'm singing, then I feel that same energy, and then I want to give that back to them as well.
Yes, as I think that's a thing I've heard from other performers and stuff, is that they really start to feel the vibe of the crowd. So if your crowd is hype and you doing things like that, you're gonna keep going, you're gonna keep pushing, you're gonna keep that vibe going. So and of course when you're performing and stuff, I'm sure it's a plentiful wine in the crowd and stuff, and people are enjoying it and everything then too. So what is your favorite genre to perform?
Ooh, there's so many.
Right, I went through your list of what you perform. So what would you say if you had to pinpoint your favorite genre?
There's so many. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a 90s R&B head through and through, so I mean.
Yes, sir.
Can't go wrong with a little 90s R&B. I love jazz. I love some of the old school stuff, but my playlist, R&B, R&B, R&B.
Yeah,
Every year, every genre.
my sons are 17 and almost 19,
Yeah.
and I'm old school, raised by a baby boomer. So when you're cleaning or cooking or something, you play music. So that is my go-to. I'm like playing intro, like or something like that, and they're like, "What are you listening to? It doesn't even sound, the sound quality and stuff doesn't even sound right to them." And I'm like, yeah, excuse me, this is my house. I'm gonna play what I want to play. But yeah, I love listening to like intro and Jodeci and stuff like that when I'm cooking and cleaning and stuff. So it sets the mood. It sets the tone.
Let me tell you something. There is nothing like a Saturday morning. You wake up, you're breaking out your broom, you're breaking out your pans, you're getting ready to make some breakfast, and all of a sudden, baby, won't you just stay for a little while? If that's on your radio, if that's on your playlist, you know you can't go wrong. You know it's gonna be a good day.
It's gonna be a wonderful day. So tell me about one moment from a gig or performance that has really stuck with you.
Ooh. I have to think that one through for a second. There've been so many like iconic moments. I've got one. Okay. So this is a funny story.
Okay.
So I was performing. I had kind of a regular gig at this club, and there happened to be a film festival in town at that same weekend. And so in walks Billy D. Williams.
Not Mr. Coat 45.
Mr. Coat 45 himself, the iconic Billy D. Williams. So he goes, he sits down, he's trying to be low key, everything like that. So, of course, go over, give my hellos, it's great to meet you, that kind of thing. This is all before social media really became kind of a thing. So, unfortunately, there's no video. I guess, unfortunately, when you get in the story, there's no video. So, at the same time, another friend of mine is having their birthday party.
Okay.
So they're coming to kind of, celebrate, enjoy the birthday. And I think it was kind of like their pregame spot, and then they were going to probably end up going somewhere else a little bit later. So anyway, long story short, I'm bringing them up, happy birthday, do that whole thing, and break out in the song. So I start singing My by Johnny Gill.
Okay.
It was kind of like, ladies' night kind of thing. Like trying to set the mood a little bit, give a little bit of that sexiness, whatever. Tell me why, not 2 minutes into the song, Billy D. Williams himself comes up on stage.
What?
And is dancing. Yes, like that. While I'm singing My in the background with the birthday girl.
Oh, and nobody got that on video.
They might, possibly, I don't. But when I tell you, it was a moment.
Oh my goodness, I bet it was. Just dancing, you was crooning so good.
Yes.
Mr. Billy D. Mr. Lady Schemes the Blues had to come up and dance.
And he was in true rare form. Mind you, this is not like I'm 41 Billy D. Williams. This is like, he's like,
Older.
He's older.
That's a good story, though. That's a good story. Okay. All right. So speaking of moods and stuff, you were definitely setting the mood. So let's transition here into moods and wine. So let's talk about how some moods and how they fit with wine. So if you just got ghosted, what kind of wine would you drink?
Ooh, if it just got ghosted, it's probably gonna be something red. It's gonna be something it's probably gonna be at least a cab or something heavier.
Something heavy with some legs.
Definitely gotta have some legs, because you gotta kind of mask the pain a little bit. If you feeling like it's a pain, but you also be feeling like, okay, I might need some revenge in some way.
In some kind of way,
and that liquid courage is probably gonna kick in.
Right. I think I don't like a ton of reds. I'm more of a like a rosé white drinker, but I would go with a red too. I would probably drink like a Pinot Noir. I like Pinot Noir. So yeah. So what about crushing a goal?
Crushing a goal?
So when you run and you beat your previous time when you run in a marathon or something, what do you want to drink after that?
Ooh, that can be some of everything. So I guess it depends on what you're eating too.
True.
So if you're having like a big celebratory meal, if it's going to be something like some pizza or something like that, then yeah, it's probably going to be something Italian, Sangiovese or something like that.
Okay.
But also if you went, in the direction of white, like I'm loving like Pinot Grigios and Sauvignon Blancs and things of that nature that they feel just like, they feel warm. They feel like you have that sense of accomplishment, and you want, even if it's your outwardly appearance that gives that vibe off, you want everything to feel on the inside.
And if I crush to go, I'm a big bubbles. I love bubbles. So I think I would have a nice Prosecco.
You know what, you're right. How could I have forgotten?
Yeah, I would have like a nice Prosecco if I, crush to go or something like that.
You gotta celebrate it.
Gotta celebrate. Or even like a bubbly, this is a still rosé, but I would like a bubbly rosé or something with bubbles that just make me giddy or something like that. So what about Sunday fun day or Sunday cool and relaxed day? What would you drink on that?
Oh, it's mimosas.
Oh yeah.
It's Prosecco.
Yeah.
Yes, and even if you want to go overseas, you get a little cava from Spain.
I love cava.
So,
Cava is really good. And you know what? I like a nice Bellini sometimes. When you're thinking of mimosas, I will drink a nice Bellini on a nice Sunday fun day, or a nice Riesling, like a nice Washington State or Oregon Riesling along that, not a harsh one, but that's a good smooth Sunday vibe too.
Yeah.
And so when you're feeling kind of spicy and you're eating something spicy, like spicy Italian or spicy Mexican or, spicy chicken wings. We from Buffalo, so we gonna have us some chicken wings. And I will drink wine with chicken wings, okay? I will drink wine with anything. So if I'm, definitely. So when you feeling spicy, what are you gonna?
And and so full disclosure, you kind of, for some people, like, any wine goes with everything. So
I agree.
There's no limits. Some people may say, okay, you have to have a certain type of wine that balances everything out.
Right.
Sometimes you just kind of go with what you feel.
Right.
But yeah, in that instance, you probably do want something a little lighter that kind of balances a little bit of the spices out. And so yeah, it might be something if you're staying in the white direction. If it's not something with bubbles, might be something super, super light. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head here. I'm drawing blanks on what kind of white, but it's definitely in that
in the white field. Yeah. You know what? If I'm feeling spicy, I would go with a little red too, because I do like Syrah and I like Shiraz. I do like those. Or even if I want to go with like a little red sangria or something, if I'm having some spicy Mexican or something like that, I will take. That's about as sweet as I want to go with my wine. And if I get wine that's too sweet, I'll throw some Tito's in it. Just full transparency. If all they have out there is like something real sweet, I'm like, could you add a shot of Tito's to that and just smooth that sweetness out? So I will say that. I will do that. So that's good though. Mood and wine and stuff always go together. Okay, so we have poured our second wine tasting for today. We'll taste it in a second, but I want to ask you, Terry, what's keeping you inspired right now?
What's keeping me inspired is, well, a couple of things. Number one, as a musician, if you're really truly in love with the craft, you always have ideas, you always have this desire to want to just continue to better yourself. And so I think that as I see, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but at the same time, there's always something that can kind of continue to inspire you to want to do better. And so I've realized that there's so much that I haven't done. There's places that I haven't been. There's experiences that I haven't had. And knowing that there's a possibility that I can realize some of those things, that's what kind of keeps me going. And so I want to see more things. I want to explore more countries. I want to taste more great wines. And then even as a musician, be able to, if not be able to sing about it, at least be able to go places and hear good rhythms, connect with people, hear good vibes. And then that may inspire me to want to do something musically as well.
You know what? I agree with you on that. And it seems like since we are pandemic survivors, there are quite a few people who did not survive, the COVID pandemic. And as a survivor of that, I have really come to the realization I'm gonna do things. I'm not gonna be afraid to do stuff. I'm not gonna be, hold myself back on things that are on my bucket list. I'm actually checking things off my bucket list now because it's like I said, it's a lot of people, unfortunately, that didn't make it, and I hate to say that inspired me. That inspired me to let go of a lot of things and to actually heal myself and do, to start this podcast. I actually got the idea for this podcast during the pandemic, and it took me until last year to actually get off my tail and start doing it. So it's like, I just live life to the fullest, to the extent. A lot of places a lot of the wines that we drink come from places. I want to go there. I want to go to Italy. I want to, actually taste a Chianti that came from Italy, like made right there, that did not have to come over here. So I totally agree with you on that.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Yep.
So I had a chance to go to Chile a couple of years ago, and so I'll try to make the story short. So I get off the plane and I'm in the Uber. Now, mind you, we're in Buffalo. We took French. I didn't take any Spanish. So
I took Spanish.
I don't know how you got through it.
I took Spanish.
I didn't. So I took all the French. So I don't hardly know any Spanish, but nonetheless, I'm in the Uber and I'm trying to have a conversation. Shout out to Google Translate, because otherwise it would not have happened. So I'm telling them that I would love to be able to go to a winery, but I just don't really have a lot of time because I'm only in town for like 2 days. I've got work to do. I've only got a little bit of time. And so he says, okay, let me think about something. Then he tells me that there happens to be this winery that's not too far from where we are. It's maybe about 45 minutes away from the city. And they actually are doing a wine tasting on the same night.
Oh, nice.
So I'm landing, this is like 3:30. We're on the way to the hotel. It's at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So he's like, okay, well, if you want to go, let me know. I'm like,
yeah,
I want to go. Because again, one life.
Yeah.
And, just enjoy and take all of the chances. So I get in, I check in, I put my bags in the room, freshen up, and go right back down. And we're on the way to this wine. And when I tell you, it was the most amazing experience. We tasted so much wine. I got a chance, and it was a family-owned winery on the outskirts of Santiago, Chile. I had a chance to see the ground. I had a chance to, connect and understand how these grapes are grown. Had a full dinner, and met people from all over the world. People from Portugal, there was somebody from Dallas that was on tour. So, so the point being that, like, it doesn't matter where you go. We all have a lot of similarities, and obviously we're talking about wine, and there's a lot of connections to wine, but it was about taking a chance and doing something that I might not otherwise have had a chance to have done. Yeah. And like, I'm so much better for it. I'm so thankful I was able to have that experience. I still have a bottle left. I brought home 6 bottles.
You still have a bottle left?
I still have one left.
Let's taste this one. All right, so this is, I'm gonna have you talk about it. All
right, so one of my favorite countries to drink wine from is from France. And so this is a Côte d'Or from France. So the difference between a lot of French wines and American wines is that American wines, they tend to be classified by the grapes. So we know, Sauvignon Blanc or Cabernet Sauvignon or Riesling, but in France, they classify it by the regions.
Yes.
And so this particular one, this is from the Côte d'Or region. There's a couple of different parts of Côte d'Or. There's more of a northern region and there's more of a southern region. I don't know exactly where this one is from, but it's from the Côte d'Or region.
And this one has some good legs on it.
I see. I love the darker color to it.
And just as a reminder, I've spoke about this before, when we talk about legs on a wine, it's actually when you swirl it around, how long it takes for the wine to come down the side. So how it sticks to the sides of the glass. That's when we could talk about legs.
Yeah.
So this one is a pretty strong one. Oh, it smells good. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like that. It's very smooth. And that's nice. Wait, let me have another sip.
this is good.
Mm.
So full disclosure, we didn't taste this before we
didn't
started
taste it.
drinking
No, this
So
is the first time.
This is the
And
first time.
and I, I come to the Winesmith quite a bit, and Phil Smith, shout out to Phil. He has me try different wines and things, and takes me out of my comfort zone. But I've never tasted this one, and this is really good.
Oh yeah, this is.
That is nice. So how do you balance all your titles? Entrepreneur, artist, runner, husband, traveler. How do you balance all of that?
I've come to realize in my ripe old age, I have a little bit of ADD, and that's all right. Shout out to those of you who have multiple titles and do multiple things. I live and die by not only by my phone, but by the reminders app on the phone.
As do I. I have to have a reminder, and I send reminders to other people. Like I'll send a reminder to Will, or to my kids, or I will send reminders. I need them too. I need them.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on, and at the same time, a lot of these worlds tend to intertwine with one another, and so. For example, a lot of the work that I do in the education sector, what I've come to learn is that the way that I approach doing some of the work, it really kind of lends to more of my creative spirit. And obviously, when you think creative, you think about a musician, an artist, some of those areas. But at the same time, you can even think about how, as a creative, a winemaker could be a creative.
Oh, yes. I've spoken to winemakers and stuff. And just as you are as passionate about music and how, your soul and stuff goes into music, it's the same thing with wine. Like, they are very passionate. And when they create wines and stuff, it comes from their soul. When you get to speak with the ones that, like you said, the family wineries and stuff like that. So, yeah, it is a correlation between those two. So when you're drinking this, what song comes to mind?
Let me take another sip.
Take another sip.
That was just an excuse to take another sip.
Yeah, take another sip. How do you drink that, and how do you feel?
This, it's fresh, it's new, it's giving. You're ready to party, but you're not quite ready to like turn up all the way up.
Okay.
So it's like if you're playing like 90s R&B, but you haven't quite gotten all the way into the party just yet, you might do like a heard it all before. You remember that song from the 90s?
Yes,
or if you're doing just in case I don't make it home tonight. Or let me think, what else? That's kind of in that same genre. Or you go back a little bit to the 80s. I want that day, little New Jack Swing or something. So it's like you're ready to party, but you're not ready to turn all the way up.
Right. So you're just getting started. It's the pregame. You're in the pregame stage.
That's
okay.
Pregame situation.
You in the pregame. I warn her before you get to the rump shaker.
Exactly.
Okay, so give us a little wine tip or something cool you learned from WSET.
God, there was a lot that I've learned. Some of the pairings, which I'm still trying to get a little bit more comfortable with understanding how like wine and food and the correlation between the two, how they go. I think first things first is there are different types of glasses for different types of wine. So for example, we don't have a sparkling or a bubbly glass, but part of the reason
that's usually in a flute.
Yes, exactly. and there's a reason why that flute and that kind of narrowness kind of stays intact, because it allows the bubbles to be able to kind of stay they bubble.
Right.
Because if it's in a wine.
Because if the bubbles are spread out, whereas they're more confined in a flute.
Exactly.
See, I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yes. So, and then even with, if you have a wider glass, kind of the aromatic relationship with the wine allows it to come out more so, but also too with the more narrow kind of top, it also allows some of the aroma to stay a little bit more enclosed, so that when you swirl it,
you smell it,
and you smell it,
and then you drink it.
You're able to to get a little bit of that smell out of it. But of course, the goal is to drink it and to enjoy it.
That is the goal. I would concur that the goal is to drink it. So
Also learned real quick, I also learned that when you let it kind of sit and let it breathe for a while, it takes on a life of its own. So what you may taste the first 5 minutes after you open it, it may taste different 30 minutes later. It may taste different an hour.
I've noticed that when good wines, that if you let it set for a little while, the flavor changes over the course of an hour or so. That is true.
Yeah.
So I really love that you put all those correlations together. Like, that is wonderful. Like I mentioned before, Terry and I have known each other since 1989, and he has been up and down the East Coast. He started out here in Buffalo. You went to Boston. How did you like Boston? Tell me something about Boston.
I like Boston a lot. And really, the thing for me about Boston is that it is a world-class city, and it attracts people from all over the world. It's the education capital of the world. There are over 50 colleges just in the metropolitan Boston area.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah. And every year, over 250,000 students come to Boston just to go to school. And so I've literally met people from places I would have never imagined. And so I appreciated that experience because I get a chance to not only get to know people from all over the world, but I get a chance to experience different types of food, different types of culture, understand different languages, get to hear people's perspectives. And I think that really kind of set sort of my worldview and for my interest in wanting to really kind of get out and travel and see the world as well.
Gotcha. And so now you are based out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey.
So what differences are there as far as, I'm pretty sure there's big cultural differences between Boston and Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. Oh, where do we start? But at the same time, Boston and Atlanta have some similarities culturally when you really think about it.
Okay.
But in realness, Atlanta is the Black Mecca. There are just so many things and historically, Atlanta has just been kind of the place. Obviously, it was really kind of like the cradle of the civil rights movement, and there have just been so many people that we read about in history books that were based in Atlanta, and there are so many historic monuments and markers that still remind you that not only were they such iconic figures in American history, but it wasn't really that long ago.
Right, it wasn't. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our last episode that I did of WINOS was about friendship, and here's a prime example of, if you haven't watched the episode, you better go watch it. But here's a prime example of a lot of topics that we touched on during that episode, is how people can transcend and still stay friends and stuff. Because even though we haven't talked every day or whatever, we've always stayed connected in one way, shape, or form. Thank goodness for social media. I will say that a lot of people will downplay social media, but when you have long friends and stuff that are out of town and things like that, it really keeps you connected. And like I said, Terry reached out to me and said, he was loving the podcast, and here we are. And I'm so glad that you were able to take the time and grace us with your presence.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. And then more importantly, I'm always going to be a cheerleader and a proponent for anyone that's trying to do something from an entrepreneurial perspective. And, just something that is going to, bring community together and really just kind of build a sense of purpose. And obviously, if it's being done over wine.
Right.
That's an added bonus.
That's added, yes, because even though I'm not a set a level 1 person, I have a little bit of knowledge about wine, but I really, that connection that I can make with somebody is really good.
Yeah.
And just as a sidebar, Terry is in town because he is singing at a friend's wedding. So what direction are you going in with this wedding? Like, give me a little hint of what you're going to be singing at the wedding.
So, all right, I'll give you a little taste of something I'm going to do. So I'm actually going to be doing their So once the wedding reception starts, so there's levels to weddings.
I know there's levels
So,
to it. Like,
of course.
are you doing her are you serenading her as she walks down the aisle, or are you doing the reception? Are you doing both?
So I'm doing the reception. We were talking about doing the actual ceremony at first.
Okay.
They decided to go in another direction with their song choice.
Okay.
So they're going to do a recorded song. Fine with me, no problem. So I'm going to do the reception. So right as dinner is starting, I'm going to be doing some songs. One of the songs that was requested, because usually, and I'm very much open to, hey, let's talk about what you like, what type of vibe you want to go for, and everything like that. And so, and this is confirmed like as of today.
Okay.
They said that they wanted to hear this song right here. Pretty brown eyes, you know I see you. It's a disguise the way you treat me. Yeah, yeah. Keep holding on to your thoughts of rejection. If you're with me, you're secure. Yeah.
I need a lighter or something. And for the young folks who don't know, that is mint condition. Pretty, I love mint condition. I love them. Listen, they're gonna love it. If you're gonna be singing like that, they're gonna love it. They're gonna love that. So today has definitely been sipping soul. Definitely, we've been sipping. Terry's been putting the soul out there. So I really think that we have been able to live up to the name without the Merlot, sipping soul, without the Merlot part. But I think we have definitely lived up to the rest of the name.
Yes.
Before we wrap, I have to give a special thank you to some people who made today possible. First, Terry. Thank you for bringing your energy, your stories, and your soul to Winos. Thank you so much. Phil from the Winesmith. This is the second time that I have been here at the Winesmith. Phil is a close friend of mine. I want to send a shout out to him for for hosting us yet again and letting me take over his space. And I have to give a special shout out to Will Houghton and William Charles Photography, the best director and videographer that a wino could ask for. You make things happen behind the scenes. Big up to you. And a special shout out to Kiss by Rose, who did my WINOS t-shirt today. Women in Need of Sanity, my WINOS t-shirt. So Kiss by Rose, you can look her up on Facebook and Instagram. Look her up and show her some love. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Terry. And please like, subscribe, follow on Instagram, Facebook. Terry, anything for you, like your social handles and everything?
Yeah, definitely check me out on the socials at Terry Gresham Music. I've got some super exciting stuff that's going to be coming up.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a tribute project that actually just yesterday just heard some musical updates, and so I'm super excited about that prospect. So
please
look out.
Keep me in the loop.
Definitely.
Please
look out for that end of this year, top of next year. Okay. So I'm very excited about that.
So that I can't wait.
Thank you. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute now.
That's 100.
Thank you all. See you next time on WINOS.